What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of PWTB. I'm Evan. I'm back with my co-host Jake. Jake, how you doing, man?
How you doing? Doing good.
Uh, First off, we have our hype video. If you guys think you are hyped for a big event or a football game or whatever, you got to check these guys out in our link because you're not. These guys are the next level. But anyways, that brings us to our first topic. Jake, I'll throw it to you. Over to you. All right.
Yeah, thanks. And we have our first guest on of the day. It's Christian. Christian, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How about you? How about you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Christian, first for our guest, I just want to ask, who are you and what can you tell us about you?
Oh yeah. So my name is Christian James Latour. Pretty much, I'm a position trainer. I've been playing football since I was at the age of 9, and I was blessed enough to be able to play on the collegiate level. But since COVID and everything happened, I took my playing career and put that to the side, and wanted to instill into the youth and help the youth, but not only just young kids, but also young college kids as well, progress into their profession of making it to the NFL.
Right. Okay, and so the first question I have for you is it's kind of a two-part question. Where did you go to college and how can you express that playing career?
Oh yeah, so where I went to college at, so I went to Shorter University. I went there as a walk-on, actually. Coming out of high school, I had a lot of schools that were interested in me, such as Memphis, Austin P, Tennessee State, a good amount of Tennessee schools for some reason. But pretty much when everything came down to signing day, Shorter gave me an opportunity as a walk on, and I took that and seized that. Shorter's it's a D2 school in the GSC, and pretty much what they love to call it is the SEC of D2. But I went there as a walk on though, at the bottom of the depth chart, and pretty much I had to grind my way up to the top. I started out as a 7, all the way below everybody else, and then come springtime of next year, that's when I was able to really show my skill set and show that I earned a spot on the team, and because of that I was able to get scholarship for having a pretty good spring. So pretty much that's where my college playing career started. Going into my sophomore season, I played there as well. And pretty much that's when I became the starting free safety on the team, and I pretty much held the team down for a good halfway through the season. And that's when COVID actually came around towards the end of the season. So I was pretty much in the transfer portal, looking at some other options. And when COVID happened, it put a lot of stuff on pause. A lot of coaches didn't really know at the time what was going to happen with certain players or their program. So during that time, I wanted to take a back seat. I just trained, pretty much went back to my parents' home, saved up money, and was just looking at other options and looking at some other schools. But I would say during that time of me training and not being at a university, not being at a school, is where I really found, my true calling in life.
Uh-huh. And let's see, the next question I have for you is basically, I know you mentioned you're training players now.
Mm-hmm.
Are you training players coming out of high school, getting ready for college, or are you training players getting out of
Oh
college,
yeah, yeah.
getting
So
ready for the NFL?
yeah, so pretty much I train all ages. So for me personally, I was somebody, like I said, I was a walk on. So just throughout my entire playing career, I was never somebody that always had the tools for everybody else to come to, if that makes sense. A lot of people didn't really view me as a first option when it came to playing DB. A lot of people they looked over me a lot. And because of that, it put a chip on my shoulder and it forced me to work even harder. And because of that, from when I was a little kid to even up to college, I was always, working and making sure I was doing more than the next man next to me. And because of that, I just look at it and as a way of training, in the training perspective, I want to be able to train everybody, no matter the age group. I'm here to give knowledge and pass knowledge down, no matter if it's a 5-year-old, a 12-year-old. I mean, I've trained my little brother Cameron, and he's in 3rd grade. And I've been training him since, he first started playing football. And from then on, I even trained some of the players that go to West Georgia, a couple of the linebackers, Amos Don. I mean, I train corners as well. A couple of them I know, Jet and CP. So I train no matter the age group, whatever it is, whatever you need help with, I'm here to help you.
Is there any like big name defensive backs or big name cornerbacks that you have trained that just jump out to you?
Not yet. I'll say that, not yet. But I do have some DBs that do, like I said, that do go to West Georgia, that I've been training for the past year or so. And they will be going into the draft within the next year. So just be on the lookout for their name and everything. Jet and CP, they're both number 25 and number 7 for West Georgia. So that's what I've been training so far. And just like I said, my whole goal is to make sure they have all the tools that they need to be successful, on a college level, on a PB level, and even in the NFL as well, because that is the ultimate goal.
Yes, sir. We will definitely look out for those players. I'm opening it back up to open discussion right here. Evan, do you have any questions?
Yeah, Christian, first of all, Jets fan or
yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Awesome. They did okay this year. They got to turn it around. They got to figure out quarterback, but
we'll the QB situation. Yeah, oh Lord.
Yeah. Okay. I just have 2 questions. Number one, so you said you trained DBs. Is that your favorite position you would say to train?
Most definitely, yes, because I played defensive back. So when I was in high school, really up until my senior year, I played corner. And my senior year is where I made the switch to a slot corner, strong safety type position. In certain systems, they may call it like a nickel back, pretty much.
You get to hit a little more there, right?
Yes, most definitely. Yeah. I'm in all the action, so I get to see all
Nice.
the action passing wise and all the action running wise. But pretty much, yeah, I would say DBs. That's my most favorite position. And when I did get to the college level, I was labeled as a free safety, and that's where I would say my skill set really got to sprout a bit more because I had much more room to cover. So I got to really utilize all the skills that I learned from playing corner in the slot and getting a little bit of linebacker play at that as well.
Okay. Just one more question. So I played football in just high school, not beyond, but I played. And one thing I always heard is that, yes, we're training you to be good football players, but we're also training you to be men and good people off the field. Is there any like particular skill you look for in like a player like that, like an off the field skill for the people you teach?
I would say yes. And what I look at is, for me, it's consistency and the perseverance, because especially I would say with my process and having to go through the walk-on process on a college level, it's very tough, very tough. And I mean, shoot, Stetson Bennett, he was a walk-on from last night who,
Right.
Showed the world that, pretty much anything is possible. But with that being said, even with his journey wasn't easy. And, being somebody who was a walk-on at some point, I just look at it's the consistency and the perseverance, because not everything is going to go your way. In practice, you're only going to have a handful of reps. What are you going to do with those reps? How are you going to show that you deserve to be here and you deserve to be on the field? It's the perseverance of pushing through all of the obstacles, but on top of that, being consistent. Okay, cool. You may have had a pick on this on the 5th play that you had of the drive. Can you do that on the next series? Okay, you did on next series. Okay, can you do it again? Can you do it again? So if anything, it's just I harp to my players. It's just consistency and perseverance, and knowing your worth, and knowing that I used to have this thing when I was younger. I always wanted to prove somebody wrong. But one thing my father told me is that you want to prove yourself right, and you want to prove that all the work that you put in and the consistency and pushing through all of the obstacles, that you were always right from the beginning, and you want to show that, this is what I have to offer. This is what I have to bring to a team.
Yeah. Very fascinating. Christian, thanks for coming on. Keep inspiring the next generation. All right.
Oh, yes. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.